You can tell a great deal about how a person feels toward you, not through the words they choose, but through the way their presence changes in your company. When a woman genuinely likes you, there is an undeniable shift in her energy. It's subtle, yet powerful, almost like the room tilts in your favor without you doing anything extraordinary. You don't have to second guess it, because it resonates with a natural warmth, a certain aliveness that comes through her demeanor. Think about how people behave when they are indifferent. Their tone is flat, their gestures minimal, and their attention scattered. They're there, but they're not with you. Contrast that with someone who is genuinely invested in your presence. Their smile lingers a little longer, their eyes stay connected just a fraction more than usual, and their laughter seems more effortless, like they've found a reason to be lighter in that moment. That's what happens when a woman likes you. Her energy becomes magnetic because her interest makes her come alive in your presence. Now, it's important to recognize that this shift isn't about dramatic gestures. Most of the time, it's not a grand confession or an obvious declaration. It's in the little things, the things that most people overlook. She leans forward when you speak, not out of politeness, but because she wants to catch every word. She teases you in a playful way, not to undermine you, but to create a rhythm, a dance of connection that only the two of you share. It's in these subtleties where you see the truth of her interest. Many men get caught in confusion because they expect certainty, something crystal clear that leaves no room for doubt, but attraction doesn't work that way. It lives in nuance, in the delicate shift of behavior that only stands out when you're paying attention. A woman who likes you will unconsciously adjust her posture, her tone, her expressions. She may not even realize she's doing it. But the change is undeniable because her body and her spirit betray the truth before her words ever could. And it's not just about the way she engages with you, it's about the contrast you notice when she interacts with others. Maybe she's polite, reserved, or even a little distant around most people. Then suddenly, when you're there, she lights up. The spark in her eyes is different. The way she laughs feels freer. That shift is not coincidence. It's a reflection of how your presence affects her. You don't ignite that kind of energy in someone unless there's genuine interest behind it. It's worth noting that this energy shift isn't just flattering, it's revealing. It tells you that attraction is not simply a matter of physical appearance or rehearsed charm, it's a matter of resonance. Something about you, the way you carry yourself, the way you think, the way you speak, has struck a chord in her, and when that chord is struck, she can't help but respond differently. It's almost involuntary, like a song that begins playing inside her the moment you step into the room. But here's the challenge. Many men ignore these signs because they're too busy doubting themselves, too trapped in their own insecurities to recognize what's right in front of them. They think, she's just being friendly, or maybe I'm imagining it. But deep down, you know when the energy has shifted. You feel it in the silence between words, in the laughter that feels effortless, in the comfort that seems to grow without explanation. That's not imagination. That's reality presenting itself in the language of human connection. And once you become aware of that language, you start to see it everywhere. You notice how she positions herself closer to you even when the room is full. You notice the small spark of excitement when your name shows up on her screen. You notice how she's quicker to share joy, quicker to seek comfort, quicker to be herself when you're around. These are not accidents. They are the marks of interest, written not in words but in presence. So when you find yourself asking, "Does she like me?" the answer often lies not in what she says, but in how her energy shifts around you. People don't give that kind of energy to those they don't value. They don't light up for those who mean nothing to them. When her spirit becomes brighter in your company, when her very presence seems more alive simply because you're near, that's not a small thing. That's the clearest signal you can receive, and it's in those moments that you should stop second, guessing yourself, because when a woman's energy changes around you, when she reveals through her very being that you matter, you don't need to chase validation or force the connection. The truth is already there, written in the spark you bring out of her. All you have to do is trust it. When someone genuinely likes you, they don't let the connection wither away in silence. They look for reasons to keep it alive, to nurture it, to keep the flame burning even when there's no obvious occasion for it. A woman who's interested in you will rarely just disappear into the background and leave everything up to you. She'll find little excuses, small openings, subtle ways to weave herself into your life because to her, you're not just another person she passes in the crowd, you're someone worth staying close to. It doesn't always look like a grand gesture. In fact, most of the time it's deceptively ordinary. Maybe she sends you a quick message about something you once talked about, like a random song you mentioned weeks ago or a movie you told her you liked. Maybe she calls you just to ask about something trivial, when in reality the question wasn't important at all. What mattered was the chance to hear your voice, to be in contact, to keep the thread unbroken. Those little things, they're not accidental. They are her way of saying, I'm still here, I want this to continue. Think about how most people behave when they're indifferent. They don't bother, they don't check in. They don't create excuses to keep the dialogue alive. They let things drift. Silence doesn't bother them because there's no attachment. But when a woman likes you, silence feels too heavy. It feels like a risk, a danger that the connection might fade. So she steps in to bridge the gap, to make sure the rhythm between you doesn't fall apart. And here's what makes it meaningful. It's not about constant communication or overwhelming intensity. It's about consistency. The world is full of distractions, obligations, and excuses, and yet she keeps finding reasons to return to you. Maybe she tags you in something funny online. Maybe she asks how your day went even though she already knows the surface level answer. Maybe she remembers that interview you had and checks in just to hear how it went. These aren't random gestures. They are investments, small but significant, in maintaining a connection that she values. Some men make the mistake of overlooking this. They think, oh, she's just being polite, or she's just friendly. But friendliness doesn't demand effort, interest does. A polite person responds when spoken to, but an interested woman initiates. She reaches out first. She makes the effort to keep the bond alive, even if it's subtle. That's not friendliness, that's intention wrapped in disguise. And the truth is, we all find reasons to stay connected to what matters most to us. If you love a hobby, you carve out time for it. If you value a friendship, you check in. If you treasure a dream, you revisit it over and over again. Human beings don't maintain ties to things they don't care about. That's why when a woman finds those little reasons to stay in touch, it speaks volumes about how she feels. She's choosing you, even in small ways, over the 1,000 other distractions she could give her time and attention to. It's also important to see the courage behind it. For many women, putting themselves out there even in small gestures carries a risk. The risk of being misunderstood, the risk of being rejected, the risk of looking too eager. And yet, she does it anyway because staying connected to you is more valuable to her than protecting herself from that fear. That willingness to take small risks, that desire to bridge the distance, is one of the clearest signs of genuine attraction. Now, you might ask, but what if she's subtle about it? What if it's not obvious? That's the beauty of it. Real interest doesn't usually announce itself with fireworks. It whispers through patterns. It shows itself in repetition. One message can be ignored, but when you see her reaching out consistently, weaving herself back into your days again and again, that's where the truth lies. She's not letting go because she doesn't want to. So pay attention. Watch for the moments where she chooses to reach out, where she chooses to check in, where she chooses to keep the connection alive when silence would have been easier. That's not coincidence. That's intention, and intention is what separates passing curiosity from real, lasting interest. A woman who likes you will always find reasons to stay connected because connection is her way of saying, "You matter to me." And if you overlook that, you miss one of the most authentic signals of attraction you'll ever receive. Because at the end of the day, we don't chase what we don't value. We don't hold onto what doesn't matter. When she finds ways to stay present in your world, she's telling you in the most honest way possible that you're not just another passing thought. You are the priority. One of the most honest languages in the world is not spoken with the tongue. It's revealed through the body, through gestures, through the subtle shifts in how we move and position ourselves. A woman who likes you doesn't need to tell you outright. Her body tells the story long before her words ever catch up. And the fascinating thing about body language is that it rarely lies. We can train our mouths to say things we don't mean, but our movements, our posture, the way our eyes betray us, those are much harder to control. When a woman is interested in you, you'll notice her body leaning toward yours almost instinctively. She may not even be conscious of it, but she reduces the distance between you. It could be something as small as tilting her head when you speak, shifting her chair closer, or orienting her feet in your direction, even when the room is full of other people. Those are not meaningless details. They're unconscious signals that say, "I want to be here, close to you, engaged with you." Eye contact tells you just as much. Most people can maintain polite eye contact, a quick glance, a courteous nod. But when she likes you, her gaze lingers. There's a depth to it, a softness, as if she's not just looking at you but through you into you. And if she looks away quickly, almost shyly, and then looks back again, that's not avoidance, that's nervousness born of attraction. The eyes always give away more than words. They hold curiosity, affection, and sometimes even the courage she hasn't yet found to say how she feels. And then there are the subtle touches. Maybe she brushes your arm when she laughs. Maybe her hand lingers a fraction longer than necessary when she passes you something. Or maybe she casually fixes something on your jacket that doesn't even need fixing. These aren't random. Human beings are wired to touch what they're drawn to. That gentle contact is her way of closing the invisible gap, of signaling comfort and interest without having to announce it aloud. Mirroring is another powerful sign. If you lean in, she leans in. If you cross your legs, she eventually does the same. It's not mimicry, it's resonance. It's her body aligning with yours because she feels in sync with you, as if the connection is guiding her behavior. And the beauty of it is that it happens subconsciously. You can't fake that kind of harmony. It reveals itself in real time without her even realizing she's doing it. Now, of course, body language is nuanced. It requires careful attention. Some men misread friendliness for interest, but here's the distinction. When she's simply being polite, her gestures are contained, minimal, and formal. There's a boundary. But when she's genuinely drawn to you, that boundary softens. She relaxes, her expressions become more animated, her smile more frequent, her laughter more unguarded. Her body no longer acts like a shield, it acts like an invitation. Think about how we behave when we're uncomfortable. We fold our arms, lean back, avoid prolonged eye contact, the body contracts. But when a woman likes you, her body expands. She opens up, she faces you fully. She maintains a physical closeness that feels natural, not forced. That openness is not random. It's the physical manifestation of trust, of attraction, of desire to be in your orbit. The truth is, body language strips away the games we sometimes play with words. It's raw. It's immediate, and it tells you whether she's merely passing time with you or whether she feels something deeper. You don't need to overanalyze every gesture, but you do need to pay attention to the overall pattern. One accidental touch could mean nothing, but repeated touches, repeated lean-ins, Repeated moments of prolonged eye contact, those form a pattern that speaks louder than any confession could. And if you really think about it, isn't that how we've always known who's drawn to us? Before there were dating apps, before rehearsed lines and scripted strategies, there was presence. There was the tilt of a head, the sparkle in the eyes, the way laughter sounded fuller in certain company. That's human attraction at its most ancient and authentic form, and it's still the most reliable. So when you find yourself wondering where you stand, don't just listen to what she says, observe what her body reveals. Words can be cautious, delayed, even contradictory, but her gestures, her posture, the way she positions herself around you, they will tell you the truth if you're willing to see it, because when a woman likes you, her body can't help but speak the language of attraction. And if you learn to hear that language, you'll never again be lost in uncertainty about how she feels. One of the clearest signals of genuine interest is attention, not the shallow kind, where someone nods while you speak, but forgets everything you said 5 minutes later. I mean real attention, the kind that holds onto your words because they matter, because you matter. When a woman truly likes you, she remembers things others overlook. It's not a conscious effort to impress you. It's a natural instinct to value the pieces of you that you share. Think about how many conversations you have in a day. Most of them blur together, names get lost, details fade, and you move on without thinking twice. But when someone stands out to you, when you actually care, the details stick. That's how it works for her too. If you mentioned offhand that you had a presentation at work, she'll bring it up later and ask how it went. If you told her once that your favorite snack is something obscure, she might surprise you with it down the line. If you spoke about a childhood dream or a challenge you're facing, she won't forget it. Those details don't just pass through her, they stay, because she's invested in you. And the beauty of it is that she doesn't announce it with a grand performance. She doesn't say, "Look at me, I remembered this about you." It shows up in casual ways woven naturally into conversation. She recalls the name of your best friend, the place you grew up, the book you once said changed your perspective. These small moments of recollection are actually enormous indicators of care, because we don't store away information about people we're indifferent toward. The mind doesn't work that way. We remember what matters. It's easy to underestimate this because it feels so subtle. Men often look for dramatic signals, declarations of affection, bold confessions, unmistakable proof, but attraction rarely announces itself so obviously. It hides in the details, in the way she recalls the stories you've told, in the way she notices when something is off in your tone, in the way she knows when to encourage you because she's been listening closely enough to recognize what drives you and what discourages you. And isn't that what most of us long for, to be seen, not just as another face in the crowd, but as someone unique, someone worth noticing, someone worth remembering? When she remembers the details, she's telling you, without ever saying it aloud, "I see you. I hear you. What you share with me matters." That is not trivial. That's a form of intimacy. It's the beginning of trust, of connection, of something more meaningful than surface-level attraction. It's also important to understand that remembering is a form of investment. It requires mental energy. Life is busy. Everyone is juggling responsibilities, obligations, distractions. If she still has the bandwidth to remember the little things about you, it means she's prioritizing you in her mental world. She's carving out space for you in her memory, in her attention, in her care. That's not done casually. That's deliberate, even if she doesn't realize she's doing it. Sometimes it shows up in humor. She might joke about something you said weeks ago, pulling it back into the present as if it just happened. Other times it shows up in encouragement, when she reminds you of a goal you shared and asks how you're progressing. Or it can show up in empathy, when she notices you're quieter than usual and connects it to something you once told her about how you handle stress. However it appears, it's the same truth expressed in different forms. She's paying attention. She's holding onto the threads of who you are because those threads matter to her. Now, this is where so many men go wrong. They overlook it. They assume, oh, she's just nice, she's just thoughtful. But thoughtfulness without attachment is generic. True thoughtfulness, the kind that singles you out from everyone else, that comes from attraction. A polite person may remember your name, but a woman who likes you remembers the story behind it. She remembers the way you lit up when you spoke about your favorite subject. She remembers the exact phrasing of a joke you told because it made her laugh in a way that stuck with her. So when you find yourself wondering if her interest is real, don't just look at how she acts in the moment. Look at what she carries forward. Look at what she brings back up. Look at whether she has kept the details alive that everyone else has long forgotten. That's the quiet proof of her affection, the evidence that you're not just a fleeting figure in her world, but someone who has planted roots in her attention. Because at the end of the day, memory is selective. We only hold on to what we value, and when she remembers the little things about you, what she's really telling you is that you're not little to her at all. You're significant, and that's the truth you can trust more than any words she might ever say. When a woman truly likes you, it goes far beyond surface, level gestures, or playful conversations. Attraction may spark her interest, but care deepens it. And one of the clearest signs that she feels something real for you is the way she invests in your growth and your well-being. She doesn't just want to be entertained by you. She wants to see you flourish. She wants to see you become stronger, wiser, more capable. In her presence, you don't just feel liked, you feel supported. Think about the difference between someone who enjoys your company and someone who believes in you. The first may laugh at your jokes, appreciate your presence, and keep things light. But the second, the one who truly values you, won't stop at enjoyment. She'll encourage you when you doubt yourself. She'll challenge you when you're settling for less than your potential. She'll remind you of the vision you had for your life when you're tempted to drift away from it. That's not casual. That's commitment, even if she hasn't spoken it outright. Sometimes it shows up in encouragement. Maybe you mention a goal, a new project, a healthier habit, a skill you want to learn. She doesn't brush it off or change the subject. Instead, she leans in, she asks questions, she pushes you to pursue it. She remembers to ask later how it's going. That's an investment. That's someone placing their energy into your future, not just their comfort in the present. Other times, it shows up in the way she challenges you. A woman who likes you but also respects you will not flatter you endlessly. She won't let you remain stagnant. She'll notice when you're procrastinating, when you're making excuses, when you're sabotaging yourself, and she'll call it out. Not to belittle you, but to lift you, to remind you that you are capable of more than you're currently settling for. That kind of challenge is a gift, even if it feels uncomfortable in the moment, because it means she's not content to just sit back and watch you drift. She wants you to rise, and then there's care for your well-being. When she likes you deeply, she notices the subtle changes. She asks how you're doing, not out of politeness, but out of concern. She spots when you're stressed before you even say it. She encourages you to rest when you're overworking, or to push harder when you're holding back. She may not have the perfect solution to every problem, but her presence is a steady reminder that you don't have to navigate it all alone. That's not ordinary attention, that's emotional investment. What makes this so powerful is that it's not one-sided. She's not doing it to control you or to prove something. She's doing it because your growth matters to her. Your victories matter to her. Your health and strength matter to her. That's what separates genuine interest from shallow attraction. Anyone can enjoy your company when things are easy. But someone who truly cares will stand beside you when things are difficult, encouraging you not to give up on yourself. This is why so many men underestimate the quiet strength of a woman's support. They think affection is only about romance, about words, about physical closeness. But support, encouragement, challenge, these are deeper signs. They show that she's not just there to take, She's there to give. She wants to add value to your life, to be part of your growth, to see you become the man you're meant to be. That's what it means for her to invest, and you can feel it. You can sense the difference between someone who claps politely for you and someone who actually believes in you. When she invests in your growth, you walk away from the interaction not just entertained but elevated. You feel like you're capable of more, like you've been reminded of something essential about yourself. That's the mark she leaves, and it's one of the clearest signs that her affection runs deep. So when you're asking yourself whether her interest is genuine, look at how she responds to your goals, your struggles, your dreams. Does she ignore them? Or does she engage with them? Does she make them feel small? Or does she make them feel possible? That's where you find the truth. Because a woman who really likes you won't just want to be part of your present, she'll want to see you thrive in your future. And in the end, that kind of investment is one of the rarest and most valuable signs you can ever hope to see, because words can flatter, appearances can deceive, but consistent support, encouragement, and challenge, those can't be faked. When she invests in your growth and your well-being, what she's really saying is, I don't just like who you are now. I believe in who you're becoming. When a woman truly likes you, it's not just about how she acts in the moment. It's about how she shapes her life around your presence. And one of the most profound ways she shows it is by making space for you, not squeezing you into leftover scraps of her time, not treating you as an afterthought, but deliberately carving out room for you to exist in her world. That's not a small thing. That's a reflection of value, of priority, of intention. Life today is busy. People are constantly pulled in 100 directions at once: work, family, commitments, distractions, endless noise. And most of the time, we only have energy left for what truly matters to us. When she chooses to give you that energy, to rearrange her schedule, to bring you into her circle, she's sending a message that goes far beyond words. She's saying, you're not just another task, you're part of what I want to hold on to. It often starts in simple ways. Maybe she shifts her plans to spend time with you. Maybe she includes you in her weekend routine or invites you into the things she already values: her favorite cafe, her circle of friends, her family traditions. Those aren't just casual gestures, that's integration. That's her signaling that you're not separate from her life. You're becoming woven into it. And once someone starts weaving you into their life, it's because they see you as more than temporary. It also shows up in the way she makes herself available. She doesn't leave you waiting endlessly, wondering if you'll hear back. She responds, she initiates, she makes room for your presence because she wants that connection to stay alive. If she's busy, she communicates it. If she's overwhelmed, she still finds some way to let you know you matter. That's not obligation, that's choice. Because when we care, we always find a way. And it's not only about time, it's about emotional space. A woman who likes you will open parts of her world she doesn't show to just anyone. She'll share her stories, her struggles, her aspirations. She'll trust you with the vulnerable pieces, because she's not just making space in her calendar, she's making space in her heart. That kind of openness is one of the strongest signs of genuine interest, because it means she sees you as safe, as important, as someone worthy of her inner world. Now, there's an important distinction here. Some men confuse attention with space. Attention can be fleeting. It can come and go with convenience, but making space is different. It requires sacrifice. It means something else gets pushed aside so you can be prioritized. It means she is willing to let go of comfort or routine in order to create room for you. That is far more telling than any compliment, any casual flirtation, any momentary burst of excitement. It also reveals her vision of the future. People don't make space for those they see as temporary. They might enjoy them, they might appreciate them in the short term, but they don't rearrange their lives for them. When she makes space for you, she's saying, I see this going somewhere. I see you belonging here, not just today, but tomorrow. That's what separates real interest from passing curiosity. And if you pay attention, you'll feel it. You'll notice how she doesn't make you fight for scraps of her attention. You'll notice how she naturally folds you into her plans, how she asks about your schedule, how she makes the effort to align her world with yours. These are not coincidences, these are signals. They tell you that you are not on the outside looking in, you're on the inside, becoming part of the picture she's painting for her life. The truth is, time and space are the most valuable currencies we have. We can give compliments easily, we can offer attention quickly, but making space, that's costly. That requires rearranging priorities, making sacrifices, and being intentional. So when a woman chooses to make space for you, don't take it lightly. It's one of the clearest signs you'll ever receive that her interest is real, that her affection is genuine, that her care is deep, because at the end of the day, you can measure attraction in glances, in words, in gestures. But you measure value in space. If she has made room for you in her life, in her time, in her routines, in her future, then you are not just someone she likes. You are someone she has chosen, and there is no stronger signal than that.